Let's review what we've done in the previous clip real quick. This point in source control is tagged as 2.2. Here's what this commit is telling us. We configured ESLint. We created an Express server. This Express server is serving both static files under the public directory and EJS templates from the views directory. We have a single endpoint / it's rendering the index template and passing along a test variable. And we're making the server listen on a configurable port. We have a package.json where we configured our start script using PM2. We also configured Babel to work with PM2. And we documented all the dependencies in this package.json file. And we have a single index.ejs template under the views directory, which is responding to our /endpoint. So when we run the server now, this is what we see on the first page. The rest of this commit is for the yarn log file. It's now time to render a React application on the client side. So we're going to create the whole React application under the lib directory. We'll create a new folder, name it components, and inside components, we'll start with an index.js file. This file is going to be the starting point for our React application. So we're going to need to bring in React. We also need React DOM. We need React DOM here because we are interfacing with the browser. We'll create a very simple React component, so function that renders an h2 hello React. And we'll use React DOM to render this component, so app, into the DOM somewhere. So we'll do a get element by ID and we'll name this ID root. And that's it. So now since we imported React and React DOM, we need a way to package this application into a single file that we can put in our index.ejs. So in index.ejs, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to have a root div, and this root div will start with static content, and then React is going to take over this div and render the React application in there. So we need to bring in a script. Now, the best practice today is to put a single file in here, like bundle.js, for example, and use something like Webpack to bundle the whole application into that single file. That's exactly what we're going to do. First, let's make sure to serve bundle.js from the root directory. We're going to place bundle.js inside the public directory. And let's see what we have. We have a dependency on React, React DOM, and we need Webpack. So let's bring those in. So yarn add React, React DOM, and Webpack. Once that is done, we need to tell Webpack where to start and where to place the bundle.js. And we do that with a webpack.config.js file on the root level of this application. We'll bring in a configuration template from the Webpack.js documentation site. If we go to the concepts page, there are simple examples here about the entry, output, and loaders. Take the example from the loaders section. This is exactly what we need. Paste that in Webpack config.js. Let's go ahead and modify it. Our entry point is lib components index.js. We want the output to go to our public directory, and we want the file name to be just bundle.js. That's it. Now, the rules section here is exactly what we need. We want Webpack to use Babel for every file that ends in .js. I'm not actually using JSX, so we can simplify that by just keeping JS. Now, this is actually a dependency, so we need to yarn add Babel loader. Cool, so now we can test. We'll add a script in package.json. Let's call this script Webpack. This is going to run Webpack. It will read the webpack config.js by default, but we'll go ahead and run it with -wd flags, W so that Webpack is going to watch our files, and D is for development mode, so that we get things like source map and make it easier for us to debug our code. We can now do yarn Webpack. So if everything works, Webpack should generate bundle.js. And it did. Bundle.js is about 2 meg. It includes all of React DOM, plus our very simple application. So now we can test our application. Refresh, and you'll see Hello React. Notice how I have this icon here that changed color. This is React DevTools telling me that this page is using the development build of React. So if we open the console, first make sure that you're not seeing any errors here. And the React DevTools right here, the last tab here, is going to connect to my React application and give me a way to debug it. Now, I have a very simple application here, but once the React application starts growing, this tool is going to be super helpful in looking at what's going on and debugging our problems. It took some time to actually generate bundle.js. So now let's actually measure this slowness in Webpack. I'm gonna run the exact same command with time. But before I do that, let's remove the -w flag. Okay, so about 7-8 seconds. That's actually really slow. Why is that happening? Well, because we said any file that ends with JS. This will actually include everything under node modules. So if we don't exclude node modules here, the Webpack process is going to be slow. I don't need Babel to run on node modules. I just need Babel to run on my own code. So we can either use include or exclude here. The easiest way is to use an exclude property with a regular expression pattern that matches node modules. So let's test the time Webpack takes now after excluding the node modules folder. So now it's just 2 seconds, which is big difference. So do not forget this exclude directive. Now, we didn't have to do anything about Babel configuration here because we already configured Babel when we made our node server understands Babel. In fact, we already have stage 2 features, and I'm going to test it. Let's put the W flag back in here, make it official, because now we know that it is faster. And I'll actually split this iterm so that I see the logs from both server and Webpack together, and run yarn Webpack in the second terminal here. So now I have eyes on both the server and the client. You do want to keep an eye on both of these because sometimes they fail. And you don't want to go waste time figuring out what's going on in the browser. If these guys are failing, you want to restart those first. Back to our index.js. So instead of a function component, we're going to use a class component. Now here's the thing. We're going to be defining a lot of class components and function components. So it is a very good time investment to have those configured in your editor as snippets. So you'll see me using a lot of those snippets from now on. And if you're using Atom and you're interested in using the exact same snippets that I use, they're also part of my .files repo. So in here, we need a React class component. And this class component's name is app. And in here, we'll just return a test string. And my snippet duplicated the import React, so we'll remove that. And here's what I want to test. I want to test that I can use class properties. So we'll define a state object here as a class property. And in here, we'll put a test value, make sure that we can read it. Little class components, and let's try and read this .state.answer. So if our Babel configuration is good to go, then this should just work. There is one small configuration that I think we need to do. Let's assume that we have an async function here. We'll make it really simple. So this function is going to return promise.resolve with a value. And I want to use this function, say in component didMount. I want to basically set the state to whatever value this function is going to give me. So we're going to come here and say something like answer is, so basically the value of the async function here. But since this is an async function, I can't do that directly. I have to resolve the promise. But the new syntax in JavaScript that's going to allow me to do that is to just await on this async function and label the host function as async. This async function is on the instance, so this.async function. And this should actually work if you have async await configured. But if we test now, we're actually getting an error that regenerator runtime is not defined. So this is because we don't have Babel polyfill configured here on the client side, and it is required for this feature to work. So let's configure that. In the Webpack configuration, we need a new entry. So we're going to convert this entry into an array instead of just a single value. And we need a new entry here for Babel polyfill. And we need to bring that dependency. So yarn add Babel polyfill. Excellent. Let's test now. Run Webpack one more time. And you see how the 37 is happening now. So with polyfill in place, the test is now working. The components start with a 42 value in the answer state. And then on component did mount, which is now an async function, I am awaiting on this async function that returns the value and putting the result in the answer. Now, I'm not handling any errors here. If you want to handle the error of an async await operation, you want to wrap this in a try-catch statement. But this is all for testing, just to make sure the configuration is working correctly for you. We're going to remove all this test code next and start working with our actual example.